Welcome back to Fold in the Cheese. It is your boy K-Troll on the mic today. I have a very special guest. Ethan is still gallivanting around Walt Disney World, although I think he's currently trying to survive a hurricane down there. Good luck on that one. But today, more importantly, I am joined by a man who I would consider the Cliff Booth to my Rick Dalton.
All right, what's the matter, partner?
It's official, old buddy. Well, it has been.
What are you talking about? What did that guy tell you?
Told me the truth is what he told me.
Whoa. Hey,
I'm sorry about that.
here, put these on. Don't cry in front of the Mexicans.
This is none other than Fanachek himself of Fold in the Cheese podcast fame. Fanachek, how are you, sir?
I am great. I'm so excited to be here. This is a lot of fun. This is exactly what I need. It's something that's not going to be about obscure TV shows. So
yeah, well, we are maybe not quite as knowledgeable as you in this field, but equally as nerdy for sure. And this is the kind of stuff we geek out on. So I'm excited to share this part of my life with you. I've been on the Fanachek podcast a couple of times. Been honored to have graced the presence of one Fanachek. And I'm ready to maybe I'll blow your mind with some sports information, some NFL.
You're going to have to, because I'm not bringing the heat with the sports knowledge. Although I've got some opinions here and there, but I'm so excited to be here. I have a present. I'm excited to show you this. Yeah. So next time I see you, I've got some Fanachek here. I've got a Fanachek T-shirt with your name on it, pal. Because you've been on the show like what three or four times? 3 times, I think. Yeah, and you're a great guest.
That is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I do require presents whenever I guest host on people's shows. So yes. That will work. I have a very small sticker that I can give you. It's about yay size, and you can put it wherever you want.
I can think of some places for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that shirt, man. That's awesome. I've got your sticker as well. I got a Fanachek sticker. You can get the swag at the Fanachek. Go ahead and prop out your swag menu here.
Yeah. So this is Fanachek headquarters. It's my 4x6 prison cell of an office, but it can be found typically on Twitter at Fanachek Podcast. Also, you can email me, fanachekpodcast@gmail.com. And it's funny, I am starting to have people write in asking for stickers. And it's 2 different people, seemingly unrelated. Recently, they're both in Arkansas.
I heard you were hitting it pretty hard in Arkansas. That's good.
I'm big in Arkansas.
Maybe you could get new governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Maybe you could hook her up with some Fanachek swag, and maybe she could just kind of spread the word.
Yeah, that's my in. That's my in the upper crust of Arkansas. Yes,
that's right. That's right. Okay, so tell everyone on this podcast. I have talked about the Fanachek podcast. I'm a fan of it and of yours, and tell everybody a little bit about kind of how it came to be and what you're doing in it, because it's really blowing up.
Yeah, it's thanks so much for saying that. It started off as just a hobby. Well, it's still a hobby, but I just love film and television. And but I didn't want to do another podcast like we've heard before, where people are just kind of retelling the story. Like I'm going to explain The Sopranos episode by episode, or try to interpret Quentin Tarantino movies. I didn't have any of that. What I did was I modeled it off of what it's like to really live with me, which is I get on IMDb and I will go down rabbit holes forever. So I'll be watching a movie and I'll see a guy. Oh, that guy looks familiar. I'll look him up. Turns out he's in this other movie that I like with this actress that I know, who I used to work with when I lived in LA. And next thing you know, 4 hours have gone by. My wife has left me and I'm still on IMDb app. So when I thought about doing it as a podcast, I'm just going to model it that way, where I'm just throwing, incessantly talking to people or at people with these facts and really exploring things. What excites me is I want to explore things that have been forgotten. TV shows that we can't believe ever got made, that are forgotten in time, actors who did some stuff that they probably regret. So I kind of focus more on that. I like to dive into stuff that we just didn't know was there, and I've got this sense in me. I'm getting nervous that it's going to be forgotten forever. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Buckhead in Atlanta about 2 weeks ago. I was at a bar waiting for a business dinner to start. And there was these old gentlemen next to me talking about their favorite movies. And the bartender was a young woman, probably about 30 years old. And they asked her if she'd ever heard of The Godfather, to which she said, I think I've heard of it. And I remember thinking, that's why I do the podcast, because pretty soon everything's going to be forgotten. If she doesn't remember The Godfather, then there's no way she knows episode 3 of season 2 of Facts of Life. So I have to make sure that these things are not forgotten.
Wow. She definitely doesn't know the Snoop sisters. That's for sure.
Thank
you for keeping that one alive. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
So I would say season 1 was all about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which we are actually going to be talking a little bit about today as well. We've always got a theme in our episode, so I'm going to be grilling you in the trivia hot seat on that one. But it was a pretty deep dive, and the labor of love, the passion that you've got behind it really comes through. And that's one thing I think I really enjoy about the podcast. I don't know half of the stuff you're talking about because you're going back further than I've been able to watch or catch up on movies and stuff. And a lot of it's before your time too, but I'm not the movie buff that you are. But I think the energy is really good. You're one of the few podcasts I can't listen to on double speed. So I'll give you that accolade as well.
Yeah, I talk
I'll put
fast.
you on I'll put you about 1.5. Even then I'm just like, ooh, I hope this all sinks in. I hope it all hits there.
My whole life I've been told I talk fast. I get through a lot of
really entertaining. Yeah, it's a whirlwind. It's very well thought out. It's very well planned out. Very unlike this podcast. It's not just off the hip, off the cuff. You got an agenda. You're getting after it. And I will say too, having been a guest, I can throw you off a little bit with some random tangent that I'm bullshitting about, and you're not like flustered, like I don't have notes for that. I don't know how to answer that question. You're just like, oh yeah, I know, blah 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 blah, and you're just like you're rabbit holing in person as well, which is very impressive.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, again, some of it's really well researched, so I'm not nearly as smart as I come across in that. Meaning, I don't have those facts retained. I've been researching it per episode. However, it always seems to tie into stories that I have, knowledge that I have accumulated across along the way. And as you know, I was an actor for a number of years. And I lived in Hollywood, and so I'm always able to tie it into something. And as you know, I joke on the podcast. I find ways to make it about me, and luckily, I've lived a life that's kind of congruent with doing a podcast about TV and movies. So it's a lot of fun.
That is pretty cool. Last thing I will mention is I'm noticing in the background, I feel like you're trolling me big time. You've got a Rocky poster back here. Yeah. You've got all of your athletic accomplishments and a Rocky poster, which I can only assume is a troll against my absolute failure at Rocky trivia. Rocky one trivia.
I definitely did it. It was I had it top of mind, Kemper, when I angled. Well, this is my sports corner of my office because I've got you've been in here. It's mostly memorabilia. I thought your fans, your listeners would be more interested in this than old TV guides from 1972. but yeah, it makes me laugh. Like you're a younger man than me, and I want you to know there was a Rocky prior to Rocky 3. so
I guess there was.
Wasn't in the first Rocky. So this is a scene from Rocky, the original with he's fighting Apollo Creed. Love that piece. That's one of my favorite movies. But yeah, you dropped the ball on that. And I actually want to bring something else up. And if I misheard, I apologize. But your last episode, you missed a great fan check opportunity, because I love on my podcast when things come full circle, where I'm talking about this, then I go off on a tangent, and it comes right back to the first point. And so you guys were talking about you got off on that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia tangent about the Day Bow Bow song.
Day Bow Bow.
And it was so you did reference that it was in Ferris Bueller. See, I thought you guys.
I don't think I did reference it. I think I meant to.
Because I know they were talking about in terms of Secret of My Success, which it was. It was famously in a scene where he's in the limousine, he's changing his clothes. But it was also the very end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I'm thinking the whole time I'm in the shower listening to it, because when I shower, I like the soft, soothing sounds of Kemper and Ethan's voices.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm in the shower, I'm like, oh, certainly they're going to bring up Ferris again. And you guys didn't do it. I was like, oh no, that was in Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that. You're absolutely right. I had every intention of bringing it back up, because that's one of the reasons I mentioned that scene in general was the Day Bow Bow song. And I was like, that's going to tie right back into the Fan and Check podcast that I had just done. And failed miserably.
Epic fail. But
it's all right. You know what? My life is a series of those, so I'm used to it.
As is mine.
Let's get into some NFL action here. Let's talk about some updates. We have some injury updates here. We're going to recap the pigskin pick'em from last week. We're going to make some picks. Fan and Check here is going to make his picks for the week. I got some trivia for him. I'll update you on a Run Your Pool. I'm still absolutely smoking Ethan in that. And then, Fanachek and I are going to come up with a Do It bet of the week. Do it. That's a Starsky and Hutch reference, that remake with Ben Stiller. Not sure if you ever saw it. Hilarious.
Sure. Vince Vaughn. I think Snoop Dogg's in there. Jason Bateman. Yeah. Yep.
Very, very good. So, updates for the NFL. We had the Josh Allen watch, I think, is the big news, right? Everyone's trying to figure out, is he going to play? Is he really hurt? Is he not really hurt? He's not practicing. Doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to play. This is a guy that can just show up on game day, I think, and be totally fine at this point in his career. But we're monitoring the elbow. He's had an elbow injury. Obviously affects your throwing. It's on his throwing arm. I don't have a lot of updates as far as like definitively what's going to happen here. We're going to have to take it down to the wire. We will see. He's getting in either limited practices or not practicing, doing work on the side, whatever. They're trying to rest his elbow to see if like inflammation kind of comes down. Case Keenum is the backup. Case Keenum is a veteran. He's been a backup for a long time. He's been a starter at times. He's with the Vikings for a while. The correlation there is he played with Stephon Diggs while they were on the Vikings together. So there's some chemistry there. Of course, the big news is like the whole offense just absolutely tanks under Case Keenum. I'm not totally sure about that. I mean, he's not Josh Allen by any stretch. He's not even a runner like Josh Allen, but he is a serviceable backup. He will be fine. Don't bench all your bills if Josh Allen doesn't play.
But they're also struggling defensively, right? With defensive injuries or no?
They have had some injuries, some pretty notable ones. Like Poyer, I think, has been out for a while now. But they're one of those teams that just kind of reloads. You know, they've got a good scheme in general, but they also have got so many playmakers that even when one's out, some of the other ones can kind of cover for it.
Yeah,
they're not quite as elite as they have been beginning of the season, but they will be fine. I'm not overly worried about them. It does make the pigskin pick them maybe a little interesting.
sure.
We'll see. Aaron Jones, the next big name, running back in Green Bay. He was practicing Wednesday. He's not expecting to miss any time. He's still going to be questionable, I think, leading up to the games, but it sounds like we avoided a major ankle injury here. Probably must have been lower ankle, I guess, those are not as severe. Keep an eye on it, though, through the rest of the week. If he doesn't go, obviously, my ex-boyfriend, the quad father, AJ Dillon, will be the starter and get all the work, and maybe he'll actually be worth a shit. I don't know. Hasn't been all year. Maybe
I love AJ Dillon. Yeah, this has been a disappointing year.
Not my best pick. Jonathan Taylor, he was present at practice Wednesday. I don't know if they're just roll call. I don't know if that is. Didn't practice, really. I'm still worried about this one. I thought for sure sitting out this past week would be all he would need. He'd come right back. They got a new coach. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, yeah.
They fired their coach. They hired Jeff Saturday, who's an old center who played for the Colts for a long time with Peyton Manning. Has never coached the NFL or college. He coached a high school. Did pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
But they're like, yep, that's our guy. Interim coach, Jeff Saturday. So I don't know. My only assumption on that is the offensive line play has been the biggest problem for this team. My guess is they're saying, we're going to put one of our greatest ever linemen at head coach, and maybe he can turn that around a little bit. Yeah. And one can only hope.
I just love how that news was relayed. When I first saw that Jeff Saturday was offered the job, I was at the gym, it was on TV, and it's literally quoting him. I was shocked they offered it to me. And I was like, I think everyone is.
You and everybody else, Jeff.
Yeah.
I guess he had turned down like an offensive line coaching job with him a couple years ago. And so someone's like, this is like the ultimate negotiator. This guy's like, no. I'm waiting for something bigger. And they're like, you're not even qualified. And he's like, okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Flash forward 2 years. Here he is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to Jonathan Taylor. I am praying to God he comes back. I've got him in one of my leagues and really need him to go.
I would imagine how many leagues do you think he was like the number one pick, right? He was probably most leagues' number one guy, wasn't he?
Most leagues. I think most leagues it was people were still kind of coming back on Christian McCaffrey, honestly, but Jonathan Taylor, I think, was pretty much the consensus 1.1, as they say, like first round, first pick.
Yeah. I'm going to league with you.
He's been a big disappointment.
Had I had the number one pick in our league, that's who I was going to take. So
yeah, I did. I had it in one league and took him. I mean, it's just like an easy choice.
Yeah.
So Zeke is back on the practice field as well. It's kind of frustrating. I like Zeke. I think he's pretty much done. The Cowboys do not think he's done, and Jerry Jones, more importantly, does not think he's done. So Jerry gonna ride him to the dirt. I don't know. Tony Pollard looks great. They won't give him more than 14 carries ever. And if Zeke is healthy, they're gonna play him. If he's kind of healthy, they're gonna play him. So frustrating as it is, he's at least good for a touchdown most games. So you got to pop him back in there if he plays. I don't know. Jerry says he's going to play. So
Jerry Jones doesn't mess around. That guy just wants to win. I mean, that's,
he does. He also has like a loyalty thing going where it's like, I don't know. He can be blinded at times, but whatever. He's a bajillionaire. Good for him. Turns out the Green Bay Packers, I'd mentioned earlier, Christian Watson had another concussion. He left the game for concussion symptoms or concussion protocol. Turns out he just got hit really hard in the chest, I guess. Yeah. He didn't have a concussion, so he's fine. He's going to play this week. Should be good to go. No concerns there. PJ Walker has been named the starter for tonight's game for the Panthers.
No thanks.
He got yanked against the Bengals. It was so bad. Baker Mayfield had to come back in there, who was also bad. Sam Darnold's name's been floating back around. Like, I think they're looking for anybody but PJ at this point. But PJ is going to be a starter again tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
And we'll talk about that because that's a rematch from Week 8. So
it is. Yeah. It is. And that was an interesting finish to that game. We'll definitely hit on that. Jalen Warren is set to become, quote, more involved in the Steelers' backfield. I don't know what that really means. It could be just coach speak. It could be the media. I'm not really sure. He has definitely shown more burst this year than Najee Harris, but Najee's a young player. I mean, there's no reason to think that he's fallen off a cliff other than his production's been terrible. So it's a name to keep in mind. I think it's someone that if you have Najee Harris, I would go ahead and stash Jalen Warren. I'll pick him up and hang on to him because if the team is desperate or if they're changing directions or whatever, they may flip the script and just switch him out.
Gotcha.
David Njoku said he was hoping to play this week. He has not practiced yet. He had a high ankle sprain, which is usually like a 4 to 6 week injury. It's only been 2 weeks. I don't think he's going to play this week, but I picked him up nonetheless. He was on our waivers, and I think you're probably going to need one more week out of him. And even when he comes back, if he comes back early, could be hobbled a little bit, so I wouldn't count on too much yet.
I'm really sitting on pins and needles with that one because I have him in our league, and I've been decimated with injuries. And he just, when you look at the number difference between him and other and available tight ends, it's so I've just had him sitting there on my bench. I'm just praying, he gets healthy again.
It gets shallow quick on the tight end pool. I mean, it's not pretty. If you're having to pick one up to stream, it's not ideal. Yeah, we'll take a look at it offline maybe if you need some help later. Because
I let go. I've been starting that kid from Miami. What is it, Matt Gesicki or Gesicki?
Yeah, Gesicki. Yeah.
But he hasn't done much for me. So I'm really hoping David comes back.
Up and down. Brandon Cooks down in Houston. He was at practice yesterday. That's good news. He was on a stationary bike probably watching Netflix for all I know, not practicing, not watching the practice. I don't know. This is a weird situation, man. The Yahoo folks have already said like he's probably not going to play. Lovie Smith, the coach there, says he's welcome back to the team or whatever. I don't know what to take. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He obviously doesn't want to play there, but at the same time, he's losing the game check when he doesn't play. So kind of dumb to not even suit up.
I had an opportunity to pick him up on waivers and I didn't because I'm not convinced he wants to be there. So who knows what's going to happen? Yeah.
Well, he's still sitting in the free agent pool in our league. And so I thought the same thing, kind of like, well, maybe they'll drop him, release him, and then someone can claim, like an NFL team can claim him on waivers. And then that's what I think he wants to happen. He's got like an $18 million contract though, and no one wants that. And he's 29. And I don't know.
It could be good. That's what I did last year with Odell Beckham Jr. I was holding on to him after the Cleveland thing, and it worked out great for me because then LA picked him up, and that was a good second half of the season for my team. So
that's true. And Cooks could go back to LA actually. He's been there before, and he could go to Green Bay, which God knows they need receivers, but don't appear to be in any position to make a move for whatever reason.
That's a mess.
Another news in tonight's game, Chuba Hubbard has returned to practice this week. He's been practicing all week. Looks like he's going to go tonight. Deontay Foreman is the guy who absolutely blew up against the Falcons in this the first matchup, and that's when Chuba went out with the injury. So interested to see how the backfield splits. I've said it kind of all along. Like I think Foreman's the guy you want. He's a better runner. Chuba got the start initially when they were splitting duties when McCaffrey got traded. I think Foreman has shown enough to keep the starting job. Maybe a 60-40 split. Hopefully it's more like 70-30 in favor of Foreman. But Chuba should be back. His usage tonight will be interesting.
We'll see.
And then Treylon Burks has been designated to return for the Titans. No Titans receiver has been relevant all year long. There's only hope that Treylon Burks becomes somewhat relevant. That's the only reason I even mention it. Is like maybe he's usable. I don't think he'll play this week, but should be ready to go probably for next week. And God knows they need someone to throw to. They also need someone to throw. So hopefully Tannehill's back. We'll see.
That's what I'm keeping my eye on is old Tannehill.
Yeah. Let's hit up some Pigskin Pick'em. We'll do a recap from last week over here. I kind of let everybody back in a little bit. I was feeling generous, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna take it easy this week. We'll let Leslie and Ethan get a little bit closer before I crush their dreams. I'm all about sucking them in and then absolutely smashing. So Ethan won last week. We've got a little side bet going. Ethan had 10 points. I had 8. Leslie is currently only 1 point behind me, and Ethan is still 3. Poor Kyle down there is just sinking to the bottom like a rock. Sorry about your luck, Kyle. But now Fanachek and I are going to make some picks for this week's games.
I have opinions. I have thoughts.
Let's ride. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts and opinions. So tonight we've got the Falcons traveling to Carolina for this rematch. A recap of what happened in the last game. This was a wild back and forth game. This came down to the wire. This is the game where DJ Moore caught the 60-yard pass from PJ Walker. It was an absolute dime. Ran out of the end zone, took his helmet off, got penalized. They moved the PAT back. They missed the PAT. The game ends up going to overtime. They miss a short field goal in overtime. Falcons come back and kick a field goal to win. This was a shit fest for the Panthers. But do you think they will get redemption tonight?
I don't. I think it's more of the same. I think tonight is Atlanta. I think, he threw a dime at PJ Walker, but also completed like 50% of his passes. Didn't have a great showing. I need Patterson to play well, and I'm counting on Patterson bouncing back because he came back last week. first game back. I think now he's going to hit his stride again. He was at one point a difference maker for Atlanta. I like Atlanta tonight.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I like how you came with stats. Look at you with numbers over there. You got stats.
I know what I'm talking about.
Researched this game and I found 50% completion. Yeah, I think the Panthers look so bad in Cincinnati. I was kind of starting to believe a little bit in them. I was kind of like, hey, they're competitive. They're doing pretty well. Defense is okay. And PJ Walker is playing well. But PJ also has a propensity to throw these turd games. So I'm going to go with the Falcons as well, with Cordarrelle being healthy. But I don't. This is one of those when I talked about you pre-show about this. Like, I don't know why 84% of the world are like, oh, definitely Falcons. This is going to be a slam dunk Falcons. A 4-5 team, I don't think it's a slam dunk. It's a home game for Carolina. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Falcons. All right, we got the Seahawks traveling to take on the Buccaneers, who came back in thrilling fashion against the Rams last week. Do you think the Buccaneers are going to turn it around? Was this a catalyst to turn the season around?
No, that was like a baseball score. That was like the Yankees versus the Red Sox. I don't know why Tom Brady was so excited about that. I like Seattle.
A high-scoring game for them this year.
I'm sorry?
That was a high-scoring game for them this year.
Yeah, I know. And I say that in jest, but like I'm walking like I talk. So I'm picking Seattle, but I'm also in my fantasy team. I'm starting Geno this week over Kyler Murray. So
I saw that. And Kyler actually has a hamstring injury that just got disclosed. So I think he's practiced yesterday.
Yeah, he's been questionable, but I like Seattle. I like Geno Smith. His numbers are great. I don't like Tampa. I think they look weak. I think Brady looks weak. I like Seattle this week.
Yeah, I think everyone desperately wants to believe that game is going to turn their entire season around, and everyone's going to look back on it and be like, that was the moment that they turned it on. I don't know that I buy that. I know history would tell me that's what's going to happen, but history also told me that Tom Brady doesn't lose 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row or whatever.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, you can never really bet against Brady, can you?
I'm kind of with you. I don't love Seattle coming all the way across the country to Tampa. It could be some residual rain and muddy sloshiness and all that, but my man Kenneth Walker is tearing it up in Seattle. I'm going with the Seahawks with an upset to put everybody kind of at rest about the whole Tampa's back, because I ain't seen it yet. And the running game has been so bad. Leonard Fournette, who I need to have a big game, has been garbage. Mm-hmm. Until I see that turn around, I'm not having faith. All right, this could be the Case Keenum revenge game. We got the Vikings going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. 7-1 Vikings, 6-2 Bills. Bills are heavily favorited here per America and the world. What say you, Fanachek?
I still, Case Keenum or not, I like Buffalo in this game. Really? Yeah, I do. I like Buffalo. Some of it's also, I just think Minnesota, I don't think they're legit. I think I'm a horse's ass. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I feel like they're due to lose. I think I like Buffalo in this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're as good as their record indicates. I agree with you there. They've had a bit of a cupcake schedule as well, and their division is total garbage.
Yeah.
I might change my mind if Case Keenum starts, because while I think he is totally competent, he's not a game changer like Josh Allen is. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you. I have more faith in the Buffalo system and it being a home game. I don't know. I like Buffalo as well. I think Allen will probably play. If it were a lesser opponent, I think he would consider sitting. But against a 7-1 team, I think he's going to want to get out there and play. I'm gonna hesitantly take Buffalo on this one.
Nice.
Now, I know you love this matchup. The Lions are traveling to Chicago to take on my boyfriend, Justin Fields, who you have shit-talked forever, and I have backed him up forever. Now he's showing it. What do you think?
Okay, look, first of all, I'm a diehard Bears fan. I've been a Bears fan since probably before you were born, right? 85. I mean,
that's when I was born. I was actually born in the 85 Super Bowl. That was my birth. I was born of the Bears.
Yes, I'm a Bears fan since then. And here's the thing. So I have some thoughts on this. But the thing about Justin Fields, look, the Bears have never shown that they can really develop a quarterback. We know that. I mean, our best quarterback, I think statistically, is Jay Cutler, who we didn't develop. We inherited him. And if that's your best quarterback in franchise history, that's not great. I mean, Jim McMahon obviously took us to the Super Bowl, but not a great quarterback per se. The thing about Justin Fields is, like, he's rushing a lot, but how long is that going to last? You give me a rushing quarterback who's had a long career and won multiple Super Bowls. You show me one. I want a typical pocket passer. I want.
Let me stop for 1 second and say, give me 10 quarterbacks who've won multiple Super Bowls.
Well, okay, fair.
There's like,
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, John Elway, Joe Montana.
Ben
Favre only won the
Roethlisberger,
one,
Eli
right?
Manning. Yes, I get it.
Yeah,
There,
Eli.
but there
But
are
and
not
that's what I
many guys
want.
who've
I
won
just
multiple
want.
Super
I
Bowls.
just can't.
Bart
I just
Starr,
have a
running
Hall of Fame
quarterback.
quarterback. I just want a Hall of Fame quarterback who doesn't run a lot. Is that too much to ask?
That is old NFL. Welcome to the new
Yeah.
NFL. They do run a lot. Now, what I don't really know, because we've only had a couple of examples of this, like, 15, 20 years ago. And you think about Michael Vick, obviously. So you think of
Never won a
what
Super
you
Bowl.
don't know is like how durable these kids can be long term. Someone like Mahomes is more of a scrambler, not a runner.
Right.
Josh Allen, I would say, is a runner. I mean, he's got design runs several times a game. He's also huge. Cam Newton was a runner. Maybe you'd consider him a better example because of his size and all of that. Justin Fields is a big kid. He's not like a Michael Vick type. He's bigger. I think he comps to me like Jalen Hurts, and I've been on Jalen Hurts for a while too. I think they have a real similar style, build, game, and everything. And I think he's a year behind, obviously, but it kind of a similar situation too, where he's like, "You're the starter. No, you're not the starter. Well, you're going to start, but you're going to get injured. But we don't have any weapons for you." But if they're an AJ Brown signing away from potentially being like a stud, right? So I don't know. I'm a fan of his in part because I know that running is just part of the game now. Like most new quarterbacks that come into the league are gonna have to run some.
I get that. I guess I haven't seen that if he can't run, does he have an arm to really fall back on? Like we say Josh Allen's a runner, sure, but he's also has a gun. The guy can stay in the pocket and also pass. I don't know. I'm not sold yet, but I'm a jaded Bears fan, so don't listen to me. Every couple of years, here's what happens. Every couple and we did it with Trubisky too. We'll trade up, we'll get a quarterback. We stumble across the finish line 4 or 5 years later, and then that guy becomes a backup elsewhere, and I don't know. I just haven't seen it yet.
That's fair. If you remember the Trubisky stuff and you're thinking this sounds familiar, I would understand your hesitation.
And then and Detroit's only last couple of games they've only allowed like 21 points a game. I think they're averaging, and so I don't know. I mean, can he keep rushing this much? I mean, he's like 400 yards last 4 games. Justin Fields. I don't know, and I like Detroit is my answer. But again, I'm a Bears fan, and so I rarely pick them. I pick Detroit.
Give me the Bears. Give me the Bears in this one. I agree. The Detroit defense has looked a little bit better, but I think that's probably more opponent than anything else. I mean, the Green Bay's offense is just atrocious.
I think mentally they're coming off that Green Bay win. I like Detroit for this game.
Yeah, I hear you. I think Chicago is starting to ride high, though. I mean, they played Miami to the wire, and honestly could have won that game if it weren't for some drop passes. I think Fields, to your question earlier, I think he's got a cannon. I'm not sure if he has the reads down yet, right. And that's something that comes with maturity and with experience. That's where I think he'll grow. But he's got the arm strength for sure. The guy can launch it.
Yeah, I meant can he fall back on the ability, not the arm strength so much, but can he prove that he can do it? And again, I'm just jaded. I just don't know. I don't trust the Bears. So this isn't about Justin Fields for me. It's about the organization. I don't trust that they can really develop a quarterback. They've never proven it.
Yeah, I hear you. They don't have many weapons either. I mean, the Claypool signing was really big for them, but it doesn't impress me. If that's that big of a deal for them,
I dropped him as soon as I heard about that trade. I dropped Chase Claypool.
They think that's like the greatest signing ever, and I'm kind of like, well, okay, he's a nice player. So yeah, you're right. They're maybe not in sync with that. We'll see. I'm going Bears.
I'm going Detroit.
All right, Denver's coming down to Nashville to take on the Titans. What's going to happen here?
Yeah, this is easy. This is Titans, baby. Detroit.
It's been fun.
It's been fun making fun of Denver this year. And I like Russell Wilson. I enjoy Russell. I've seen him speak live. I mean, I'm a Russell Wilson guy. But this is just kind of funny, especially when you look at how well Seattle's doing without him. And so, but I live in Tennessee. I think in Tennessee, I think they need to bounce back. I think Tennessee's going to do it.
I hope Tannehill plays, man. If he doesn't play, I'm a little hesitant. Although Derrick Henry can carry the team on his own. Malik Willis is not ready for prime time.
No,
he can run really well. He can't make reads. I honestly do think in a couple of years, if he studies under, like, Tannehill's a good mentor for him as far as style of play. Obviously Tannehill had the comments at the beginning of the season. He was not going to mentor him, which is fine. Dick. But I do think Malik Willis is talented. He needs reps, man. He just needs exposure. He's a raw product. I'm going to go Titans as well. I really hope Tannehill's back. But D-Hen all day, baby.
I like it.
All right, we got the Jags heading to KC to take on the Chiefs.
I mean, is anyone not picking Jacksonville?
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like Jags are getting a lot of love here.
It's funny. I think you guys even said it on your last episode. I think it was Ethan saying like he really wants to see Trevor Lawrence be a winner. Like he wants to see this work. I don't see it, but I'm judging it off of how he played in big games in college. I mean, he was a great college player, no doubt. But in some of those big games, he didn't look great. I don't know. Jacksonville's a mess. I mean, this is easy going to be Kansas City. I mean, I can't imagine a world in which Jacksonville wins this. But I also want to take a step further, like with my Justin Fields stuff, and say I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. I don't think, but maybe I'm wrong.
Wow, he is dropping the hammer on these young quarterbacks.
Hey, I didn't say my opinions would be right, but I have opinions.
Do you like any young quarterback? He likes Joe Burrow.
No, I want John Elway back in the league. I want Steve Young back in the league. That's what I want. Give me Elway and Steve Young.
Back in my day, Steve Young was a scrambler.
But
that was a man. No, Ethan's a big Steve Young fan. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. I think they're rolling right now, man. Even after a lower scoring game against the Titans, they found a way to win at the end. Mahomes magic. I mean, the Titans, they kind of had the edge at the end there, and lo and behold, he runs one in and he finds a way to do it. So I think the Jags, they could keep it competitive for sure. I think the team's got some firepower. I like ATN a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I think Trevor will be fine long term as long as they continue. I think Doug Peterson's a great coach for him. I think he can develop Trevor into a quarterback. So I think that was a really good move. He got absolutely shafted his first year with that Urban Meyer debacle. So you got to throw that away. And this is basically a rookie year for him. So I'm going to go Chiefs either way. How about the Browns traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins?
Another easy one. I mean, Miami's, their offense has been on fire. Tyreek Hill's been on fire. I like Miami for this game, of course. I can imagine many people don't.
Yeah, 93% of the world is on Miami as well. I'm going to take Miami easy money here. Cleveland it's really hard to predict, man. They are up and down. They took care of business against the Bengals on that Monday night game, just absolutely crushed them. And then they'll go off and lose to some random team, some terrible team like Detroit or somebody. It's like, I don't know what you're going to get out of them week in and week out, but Miami's offense has been on fire, and I'm expecting that will be enough to get them over the edge here.
One thing you can really say positive about Cleveland is they're coming off a bye, so maybe they get some rest. I don't know.
We'll see. Hopefully they get Kareem Hunt more involved. I got him in a couple leagues. I need him to get some passing down work. All right, the Texans with if we're not sure if they'll have Brandon Cooks, if they have any receivers. Nico Collins, I believe, will play this week. He missed last week. Heading up to New York, take on the Giants. I think we all know where we're going here.
Yeah, well, if I told you that prior to the season starting, I predicted the Giants would be 6-2, would you believe me?
Yeah, no way. Yeah, no chance.
It would have been a lie. Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked by the Giants this year. I think this is the Texans are a mess. This is easily a Giants game. Although, what happened there? Didn't someone get hurt? I don't know the name. I'm sorry. I'm not like the expert. Didn't someone get hurt like in an ATV accident? What's going on now? It's on the IR. They had a bye week and he got hurt.
For the Giants?
Was it, or maybe was it? Anyway, I thought I had it in my head. I was at the gym that someone got hurt in an ATV accident.
I think I saw a headline with that, but I didn't remember it being anybody super relevant.
I just remember thinking, like, how can you have an injury on a bye week? It turns out it was an ATV accident.
They call that a non-football injury.
Yeah, but no. I mean, I'm from New York. I'm not a Giants fan, but what a pleasure it's been seeing. And actually, the Jets as well. They have a surprisingly good season. So yeah, I think this one's the Giants all the way.
Yeah, I'm going Giants as well. Houston is an absolute mess. They were finding ways to stay in games early in the season. They weren't winning, but they were staying in. They did get that tie, but I mean, I don't have any faith in them. And the Giants, even against tough competition, have looked competent. So I gotta go with the Giants. On this one.
To start off the year beating Tennessee and then they beat the Bears, right? I don't know if I have the order right, but they came out strong. I mean, they beat some good teams.
Yeah, Saquon's been resurgent. It's been nice to see him.
I passed on him. I had a chance to draft him in our league, and I didn't because I wasn't trusting his health, and that was another poor choice, one of many for me. So
I ended up getting him in the third round of our league.
That's
and
crazy.
At that point, and I wasn't – I credit Ethan for being all in on him again this year. You got to show it to me, prove it to me that you're back. And so I was really hesitant. But in the third round, I thought it was way too late. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll go ahead and take him. And man, am I glad I did. He's been an absolute stud for me.
Yeah, I missed that one. This is an interesting one. This is going to be an interesting game.
We got the Saints traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, who are coming off the bye. Saints had a pretty lackluster performance on Monday Night Football in New Orleans. I was really touting them as a big game, Monday Night Football in NOLA, and they did not show up. So they're heading to Pittsburgh, who's fresh off the bye. They traded away Chase Claypool. What do you think here?
Well, I like New Orleans. The Steelers give up a lot of yards. That said, I'm curious to see if Hill's going to get more involved in the game. Look, and this is going to sound harsh, Andy Dalton is not a winner. He's just not a winner. And I'm curious to see if they get Taysom Hill involved in the game more, even at quarterback. I don't know. But I mean, I think that Pittsburgh gives up a lot of points. I know New Orleans has lost like, I don't know, 3 of the last 4, something like that. But I like New Orleans in this one.
You're just a ginger hater. That's okay. I understand. So here's my thought. And I've said this on the pod a couple of times, and I'm not sure if this is the game where it's going to happen, but I think Pittsburgh, because in large part their schedule starts to soften up, everyone who's thought, hey, this is Kenny Pickett is garbage, the offense is garbage, it's not going to work. I really think when the schedule loosens up a little bit, this team's going to look a lot better than they have. TJ Watt, I think, is going to be back this week. That's a big boost to their defense. Sure. One of the best pass rushers in the league. And I think Kenny Pickett and George Pickens have got a lot of good chemistry going. I'm excited to see what they do for the second half of the season. I'm going to go Steelers at home on this one, coming out of the bye, because to your point, I think New Orleans is struggling right now. Mm-hmm. They can't figure out how to get it right. They can't get healthy in the receiving room. Their defense is banged up. Kamara is the only star they've got. Although Chris Olave has looked really good too, but Dalton is unpredictable, man. And I don't like that. Although Kenny Pickett's a rookie and obviously unpredictable, I think over the bye week, that's going to benefit a rookie more than anybody, really, you know?
And speaking of Pittsburgh too, just unrelated, but boy, did I really wanted that to work out for Trubisky. I really did.
In Pittsburgh?
Well, when he went there, I mean, he seems like such a nice guy. And then he went to Buffalo and you think maybe he learned from that organization and working under Josh Allen, and he goes to Pittsburgh. I think by the 3rd game he's benched. I'm like, oh man, that poor bastard.
He's not an NFL quarterback. He never played football until college or something. Like he's a tar hole. I got no love for that guy.
I wanted it for him. It's not going to
get out of here.
But again, I like New Orleans in this one.
Mr. Biscuits, get out of here. All right. How about the Colts? The Jeff Saturday led Colts taking on the Vegas Raiders in Vegas.
This is like the dysfunction bowl.
Yeah, this is a tough one to pick. This is brutal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually going to look at my notes because I don't even know who I like in it. Obviously, with the new coach, that could be a good thing or it could be a mess. I don't know what's going on in Las Vegas with old Derek Carr. He's got that Garoppolo disease. It's like, how many years can you be a starter and still you're not the guy? Like, at what point does an organization just get rid of you? As an outsider, I don't know the football world like you do, but you see these guys. I'm like, if someone's been your starting quarterback for 4 or 5 seasons and you're still not ready to really say he's your guy, then what's going on? And so I don't know. What do you like in this game?
So Derek Carr to me fits into that category of I can't believe there aren't enough good quarterbacks to fill every roster in the league. And like, I think he's average and fine. And at moments he's great. And like, he'll have these flashes where he'll go to the playoffs and you're like, oh, Derek Carr's, he's going to be our guy. If you can't win with that roster, like, what are you doing, man? You know, every year it's the same story with him. And it's just kind of like, we got Derek Carr, but I keep thinking like, well, they might bring in a quarterback battle. And like, oh, I don't know. Like, he's never feels safe to me, but every coach loves the guy. I don't know why. He doesn't look good to me.
Yeah, I guess the only thought that I had about this one is obviously with the new coach, I'm not feeling great about that for Indy. Vegas has blown some big leads this year, so maybe this is the week they don't blow a big lead. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Vegas for this game.
I got to go Vegas as well, being at home and the new coach stuff in Indy. I'm interested to see what Indy looks like. I do think. Weirdly, I think this will help the team because I do think there's going to be such an emphasis on the line, and that's the biggest deficiency on the offensive side. I don't know if Ellinger is going to start. I assume he is. There's a chance that Saturday comes in and says, Nick Foles, you're our guy. You're going in. And if Nick Foles goes in, I'm taking the Colts because that guy wins.
I love Nick Foles. Again, I'm a Bears fan. He
I know, right?
He came to us, and did nothing, and they didn't treat him very well, and he was like a 3rd stringer at one point. But
Nick Foles is a great guy. I do like Nick Foles.
I do like him. I'm a fan of his on a human level for sure.
But he was also one of those where you're like, he's a starting quarterback, and you're like, is there no one else? Is there no one else that could be a starting quarterback?
And I love his name, Big Dick Nick. I mean, that's what they call him.
Big Dick Nick. I love that. So I'm going with Vegas for now. But I think there's a chance that Indy comes out and turns things around at least a little bit. We'll see. How about Dallas heading to Green Bay to take on the Packers? The Mike McCarthy Bowl.
Obviously Dallas. I mean, Green Bay. And I love, I'm a Bears fan, so I already have an issue with Green Bay. But in the Brett Favre years, I used to love watching Green Bay. But it's been a pleasure for me to watch some of their struggles this year. They're a mess. They have no receiving core. It's a shit show there. I mean, this is easily Dallas's game with or without Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, I actually think they might even be better without him, honestly.
Yeah, with Pollard,
I
right?
like Zeke. But yeah, I can't wait to see Rodgers take on the Bears again, who he owns, and all of a sudden get shut up. I mean, they are chomping at the bit to get it.
Yeah,
3-6 Packers team.
But that's like if that when that happens, if the Bears do rout them, it's with an asterisk next to it. It's Aaron Rodgers, on a depleted team. I mean, they so don't get me wrong, I'm gonna love watching it happen. But
yeah, there'll be extra motivation there. I'm going Cowboys as well. I think they're ready to make a run.
How many has Green Bay lost in a row? Has it been 5, 4, 4, 5?
4 or 5.
Oof.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd see that happening in the Aaron Rodgers era.
Yep. It's a weird year, man. Those old statue quarterbacks are starting to lose. Can you believe it?
I've been adjusting.
These damn kids are coming in here running all the time. All right. Speaking of runners, we got Kyler Murray going against Statue Stafford in LA. If Kyler's healthy, we'll see. But I don't want to pick this game. These teams both suck.
Yeah, what's going on with Stafford? He was in the concussion protocol. Is he all right?
I think he was a bruised ego. I think he's just crying.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm going with Arizona in this game.
Yeah. Now if Kyler doesn't play, I don't even know who their backup is, but it can't be good. I think I have to go Arizona as well. The Rams have been so bad. They cannot run the ball.
Their offensive line is gone.
Terrible pickup. The line is bad.
Yeah.
Stafford is out of sync. I still think they talked about his elbow issue before the season, and everyone kind of wrote it off as like, it's not a big deal. It's got to be bothering him.
He's throwing a lot of picks this year. And I think I read that like the offensive, I think there's only one guy left from their Super Bowl team, like that's starting right now. And so you're right. Kyler Murray makes a big difference. And I'm kind of picking Arizona, assuming he's going to start. But either way, I'm sticking with Arizona on this one.
Okay. I'm with you on that. Assuming he starts, of course. And if he doesn't, and Ethan always hates my contingencies, like, well, if he doesn't play, then blah, blah. He always gives me shit about that. But I don't have to see who the backup is. I still might take him if the backup is someone I've remotely heard of.
See, I won't be on the show next week, so I don't have to answer for my picks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll make sure you do. I'll make sure. Hey, here's what Fanachek said last week, and I'll just blast you. All right, we've got the Chargers going to San Fran to take on the Niners. What do you think's going to happen here?
McCaffrey's been effective. The Chargers keep ending up in holes, right? I feel like they're always coming from behind. They're down. They're fighting out a hole. I like San Francisco as the short answer. I'm picking San Francisco for this one. That's my answer. San Francisco.
Yeah, the Chargers are still banged up. I don't think Keenan Allen's going to play this week either. I know Mike Williams is not going to play. Josh Palmer was great last week. DeAndre Carter was serviceable last week. You can play both of them in your fantasy lineups this week. Austin Eckler is a stud. And Herbert's a good quarterback, but like if you don't have weapons, you don't have weapons. It's hard to really excel. And so I'm going to go with the Niners as well. At home, McCaffrey's just gelling more and more each week. They got a better defense. All the reasons I'm going Niners.
Debo's still out?
Debo, I think, is questionable.
Okay.
I think he will play this week, but
even without him, I think San Francisco takes this one.
Yeah. I don't know what Slider Sunday pick of the week is, but I'm here for it. Sunday Night Football. All right, Monday night, the Commanders, or the Commodores, as they've been called, taking on the Eagles.
Now, I want to know who these 5% are that picked them, unless it's just for gambling purposes. They don't think Philly will cover the spread, but this is easily Philadelphia.
Yeah, I agree. It was Randy Moss on Sunday NFL Countdown calling the Commodores, and then just the rest of the show was just a bunch of song lyrics and Lionel Richie and all that.
I was in the airport with him once, so
I got to go Eagles as well. You have a Randy Moss story?
Well, I was just in an airport with him once. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I think I was heading to Vegas. It was the night after Monday Night Football here, and it was him and the name escapes me. The coach, he coached the Jets and he coached the Buffalo.
Rex Ryan.
Yes, Rex Ryan. So they were right behind me in line. It was pretty cool. And anyway, but yeah, I can't imagine a world in which Washington even comes close in this game. I think Philadelphia has been on fire. I mean, they're hot, and I like them for the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, I like the Eagles a lot too. The world in which they come close is division rivalry. Like these teams know each other well,
Mhm.
and those games can get a little squirrely every now and then, and things don't always make sense. And of course, I'll tell you too, Taylor Heineke, total wild card. We call him Nathan Favre because he's a mixture between Brett Favre and Nathan Peterman. He's as likely to throw a pick six as he is to throw a Hail Mary that gets him 10 points somehow. Like he's a total wild card.
He's fun to watch. Yeah.
He is fun to watch. He's a gunslinger. He does not care. He gives no shits. He will throw it to anybody. And I like that. And so that's how you beat a team like this is you just go ham.
You just go
and
for
if
it.
all those happen to hit, maybe it happens. He almost beat the Buccaneers in their Super Bowl run in the playoffs.
I remember
he
that.
started the wild card game or the first round game against the Bucs and took them to the wire. And that was a team that was really, really good. So he's a wild card, but yeah, all that to say, I'm really in on the Eagles this year. Defensively, they've been really good. I love Jalen. AJ Brown, of course, miss him here in Tennessee. I'm going Eagles. We need a tiebreaker score. How many total points are they going to score in this game? What's the score going to be? Not even total points. Give me an exact score.
I say 37-17 Philadelphia.
54 points. 37 they're gonna hang on Washington.
I think so.
Oh, that's really letting it rip.
I'm
going to go lower than that. I could see more of a 27-17, so I'm going to go 44 points.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Washington defense is hopefully, for their sake, getting a little bit better. Okay, that's going to do it for the Pigskin Pick'em. Now we have got a very exciting segment. I'm going to throw the banner down there. It's trivia time.
Trivia time.
It's trivia time with Fanachek himself, the king of trivia.
Uh-oh.
About certain topics specific to movies, and especially Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Okay, so I have come up with 5 questions for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Great Tarantino flick. Fanachek's first season was all about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Again, strongly recommend you guys check that out. He's doing a second season that's about movies that were made into TV shows that probably should not have been made into TV shows. I just heard the episode this morning. I was listening to the one he did. He launched yesterday. Very good stuff on Dirty Dancing. So let's get started.
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Okay. See what you know, what you don't know. This is the kind of stuff you definitely tend to know because you deep dive all the who would have been cast as who. Uh-oh. Who was originally going to play the character of James Stacy? Of course, that was Timothy Olyphant in the movie.
I have no clue.
Do you know who they were originally going to cast? He passed away. He couldn't do it.
No, of James Stacy? Jim Stacy?
Mm-hmm.
I sure don't. I don't think I've even heard. No, now I'm really excited. Who?
So I was excited about this one too, because when you talked about Jim Stacy and Timothy Olyphant specifically, the character was supposed to be even younger than Rick Dalton. The actor they were going to cast in this role is 13 years older than Timothy Olyphant, which it would be even crazier. Bill Paxton.
I did read that somewhere. You know what? You're right. I did read that somewhere, which makes no sense. I guess I like Bill Paxton as an actor, but sure. Yeah, in the novelization of the movie, it's a younger actor who's he's like the big new swinging dick. He's got a pilot. Rick Dalton's the old guy, and so I thought Oliphant was great, but I remember thinking it was weird that he was old. Bill Paxton's way old. But it's funny. I think I have read that. That's great trivia. Interesting.
It's thrown in the midst of the IMDb. This is all IMDb stuff, so that's why I assumed you've probably fallen into it at some point. I don't remember. I guess part of my narration memory was DiCaprio monologuing, but there's a narrator for the movie. Yeah,
it's Kurt Russell. Mm-hmm.
That's the second trivia question. Who narrates the movie?
Okay, Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, crush that.
That's a big fucking lie. Rick lost his driver's license. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Okay, that's right. All right. Damon Harriman plays Charles Manson in this movie. He also played Manson in another project in 2019.
Netflix Mindhunter.
Netflix season 2 Mindhunter.
Yeah. That's like, I don't know if that's like a gift or not when you're looking so specifically Manson that you keep getting cast as Charles Manson. This
guy
not good.
Might actually be Manson.
Apparently someone was pissed about it, and I don't know if it was the Mindhunter people or Tarantino, but he, and I get it. He wasn't loud about it. He wasn't gonna say, yeah, I'm playing Manson on this other project too, because obviously no one would like that. I'm pretty sure it was Quentin Tarantino was a little bit ticked off when he found out about that, but yeah, he and that's a great show, Mindhunter. I don't think it's coming back for season 3, which really sucks because I enjoyed that show. But yeah.
So this is a question then, because it's a historical character, a real person, like you can't say we own the rights to this character and you can't play this character without our permission, express written consent or whatever, right? So they couldn't have prohibited him from playing a real life person. But I'm sure there's some, I don't know if it's considered non-compete or what, but there's got to be something there where in the language of your contracts, don't you think there's something that says like, don't play the same character somewhere else?
Something, yeah, but I mean, gosh, you can't put a fence around the world. I guess they just, and you also got to remember that's not a massive part. I mean, it's kind of a bit part. I mean, what are the odds that this guy's going to go off and play, Manson somewhere else? But yeah, he does look a lot like Manson, which again, that's not really a win. And unless there's other Manson projects in the works, I think this guy's going to be, working at Arby's pretty soon.
Yeah, true. And what are the odds that there's going to be another Manson project in 2019 at the same time as this one? Like,
it's just very weird, very weird.
Years and years after. Okay, so this one is one that you're not going to know. I don't think you would have picked up on this, but it's a great question anyway. Was the remote control at George Spahn's house wired or unwired remote control for the TV?
It was unwired.
It was unwired, and it was one of the earliest unwired remote controls, the Zenith Space Command remote.
I specifically remember the remote, but just looking so old. And no, it was unwired. Because was it Dakota Fanning had it, right?
So I picked up on this trivia question because you mentioned having a wired remote when you were a kid on your Dirty Dancing podcast on Candle Check.
Yeah, our first VCR. So you too young to remember this, but when VCRs first came out, there weren't even video stores. So the way I remember it is what would happen is before video stores like exploded out of nowhere, but before there were video stores, it was like in the grocery store, kind of near the checkout area. So a lot of grocery stores had like a little section kind of cornered off, and that's where you can go get movies. And you had the bigger ones, which was VHS, and the little ones, which was Beta. And so, so I guess it was a 50-50. My parents chose Beta, which of course, like a year later is gone. But I remember our first VCR was a Betamax. The remote control was connected by a wire. And then before you knew it, video stores were everywhere. Yeah.
Yep. I grew up in a small town in Illinois, and our grocery store had a little cutout with the videos in it.
There you go.
And video games as well. I remember renting video games from there too.
That's wild. And there's a new show on Netflix now called Blockbuster. And it's about the very last Blockbuster. It's like a comedy. It sucks. Don't watch it. But I was so excited. I was like, what a cool premise, about the last Blockbuster. And they're all there. It's modern day, but they're in their khakis and the blue shirt.
Yeah.
I got 10 minutes into it. I was like, I'll pass on this. But yeah.
I think that place is, isn't it rented out on Airbnb? I think the last Blockbuster is an Airbnb.
Oh, wow.
Rental. It's like a special rental you can do.
I saw a documentary about 2 years ago. I don't know on what streaming service. Maybe it was Netflix about the last Blockbuster. I don't recall where it was though. And I don't know if it's since closed down, but that's kind of wild. And people were like, it's like a Mecca. It's like a pilgrimage. People go there.
Yeah, exactly. They had a giveaway. It was, it might've been around Christmas time. It was only a couple of years ago. There was like a special giveaway where it was like enter a raffle and you could stay in it. And you would stay in it for like $2.99 or whatever it was, the price to rent a movie, $2.99, like the one night rental fee for Blockbuster. It was pretty cool.
I'd be all in on that. I missed the video store experience. That was part of your night out. That was part of the Friday night. You're going out when you're dating a girl. The night starts with we're going to go to the video store, and then we're going to do this. I mean, we're going to stroll through there and look at all of them and talk about all of them and decide if hey, is this compatible or not? Because I'm being drawn to these movies. You're talking about these movies. Right. Well, as you know, I was in the Navy for 9 years. First 6 of it, I was on submarines. And so I'd go out to sea for long periods of time, like sometimes a 6-month deployment. And it was nothing better than being overseas for 6 months and then coming back and going to Blockbuster because the new release wall was like just magic. I was like, I hadn't seen or heard of any of these movies.
I'll take them all.
And it was fantastic. That was always the best, going to the video store after 6 months of being, out of the country. So,
yeah, good on you. Good on you. And thank you for your service in this upcoming Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah.
Cool boys. We support our veterans. All right. Last question. You're crushing it so far. This is, I think, probably a layup for you as well. What are the 2 drinks that Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth are ordering in the bar when they meet Marvin Schwartz?
Well, Cliff is drinking a Bloody Mary, and Rick always gets a whiskey sour.
That's exactly right. Ding, ding, ding. There he goes.
And that, folks, proves I'm a loser.
Got you with that Bill Paxton reference.
Yeah, that
may be hotly debated. For all I know, I found it on IMDb, so I assume it's true. But
most things on the internet are true.
Absolute crushing. Absolute crushing. Well done.
Thank you so much, man. That was good trivia. I appreciate that.
You have passed. You have passed as a guest host. All right. I'm going to end this with a quick run your pool update. So I crushed Ethan last week. I won by 65 points. My lead is now 137 points. So I basically doubled my lead. Absolutely crushed him. I had Justin Fields going. That was like a 42-point week.
What
I
a
had
great
Travis
pick that
Etienne,
was.
Christian Kirk, crushing. Justin Jefferson, crushing. Ethan's team shat the bed. And so I crushed it.
Yeah,
And
I remember you being really big on Justin Fields last week. Then he rushed for like 178 yards. Pissed. I was
NFL
mad.
record, 178 yards.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
henceforth shall be known as the NFL record, 178 yards. So this week, Fanachek, I have not asked Fanachek to create a roster for Ethan. So I'm going to take Ethan as a man of his word and a man of honor. And I'm going to assume he's going to make a good roster here. I'm going to give my roster over the air and assume he doesn't cheat me somehow. Not sure how you do that. But here's what I'm going with and run your pool. As a reminder, we cannot pick players more than once all season. So the pool of players is kind of dwindling down a little bit. So I've got Jared Goff starting at quarterback against those Bears. I hope and think it will probably be a shootout. I've got Christian McCaffrey against the Chargers. I still had him going, so good on me. I'm taking Deontay Foreman in a rematch against the Falcons. Had 3 touchdowns last time they played. I'm hoping for another 3. I've also got DJ Moore. Had that 60-yard touchdown last time they played the Falcons. Hoping for another one of those. I got Juju Smith-Schuster going against the Jags and what I also think will be another shootout. Greg Dulcich against the Titans. I think the secondary has done better against the receivers recently, and I think tight end's a little bit of an area of concern for us. He's playing for Denver. I got Rondale Moore in Arizona going against the Rams. He's back at home in the slot where he belongs. Does a great job out of there. Target monster. I got Jake Elliott kicking for me against Washington, and I'm taking the Giants against the Houston Texans as my defense of the week. That is my run your pool squad.
I like it.
What do you think? Where
Ethan
am I
does
wrong?
in fact have honor, but we'll find out.
We'll find out if that jerk has any honor. We need a do it bet of the week, Mr. Fanachek. And it feels like it needs to be a Bears-Lions bet, honestly.
So how does do it? You want me to just give you a hard, explain this to me.
Yeah. So what we do is we make one solid bet every week. And I'm just going to pull up Wheel of Names here. One solid bet every week that is usually one player versus another player. Or we do a player draft, which is fun too, where we'll do like a first person gets the first pick, next person gets the second and third pick, first person gets the fourth pick. And you have to compare fantasy points, basically. So I think we should do it that way because, although I need to add names in here, I don't want Allie and Beatrice and Hannah and Gabriel. So what I'd like to do is a 4-player draft where we each get 2 players, okay, from the Detroit and Chicago game.
Gotcha. Who goes first?
We're going to spin the Wheel of Names to find out. And I'm going to, as you will see right here, I've got Fanachek and me in the Wheel of Names.
Oh, I love it.
Fanachek is blue. I am red. Let's go. Tap to spin. Here it goes. Oh, that's me in the red.
Okay.
So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take the first pick. You're going to get to pick 2 players, and then I'll pick one more at the end. These are total fantasy points only within the Bears and Lions game.
Gotcha.
Okay. So as a gentlemanly hint, quarterbacks tend to score the most points, right? I'm going to go Justin Fields, obviously, with my first pick. And then you get to pick 2 picks, and then I'll pick a 4th.
Okay, I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. And
would recommend Jared Goff as a quarterback scoring more points, but if you don't want him, that's your call.
No, that's what I was thinking. I was going to go with a wide receiver, but okay, I'll go Goff and DeAndre Swift. And I'm only saying Swift because he's healthy again. He's on my fantasy team, so I need him to do well.
You've got Goff and DeAndre Swift. Yeah, the news on DeAndre Swift is they're hoping to get him more work this week, which is great.
He had nothing last. I think he rushed 10 yards last week.
Yeah, they said the first game we're going to give him a little bit of work. They gave him 5 carries. Then they said we gave him too much work, which was only 5 carries. So I think they gave him 4 carries last week. Now they're ready to give him a little bit more. So he is maybe the best player in the game. So in this particular game, so that's not a bad pick. I'm going to go and hope that Amon-Ra It's going again because I've got him in nearly every league I have. And so I'm taking Justin Fields and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I say Justin Fields and Amon-Ra St. Brown have more combined fantasy points this week than DeAndre Swift and Jared Goff. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
I love it. All right.
You're supposed to do that.
Do it.
Now.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Bacardi and Cola. Do it. Do it. All right. Fanachek. That's going to do it for this.
I hope I did the show justice. I don't have the football knowledge that you have. I thought you were going to ask about obscure games from the 70s that no one cares about. But
how do you feel about Richard Dent? I heard he got some play on the Fanachek podcast.
Yeah, you saw that? I meant to say, we're talking Richard Kind. And I said Richard Dent. I was like, no, wait a second. He played for the Bears. Yes.
Richard Kind had a great Spin City run as well. I know we talked about Spin City on our Ferris Bueller's.
Also, Curb Your Enthusiasm. That guy's been around forever.
Yeah, and he's Bing Bong from Inside Out.
Inside Out. Yeah, great movie. That's right.
Yeah, great movie, Bing Bong. But anyway, once again, check out the Fanachek podcast everywhere you get podcasts, FANACEK. I will put a link to it in the show notes here. I will have it blasted on the video on YouTube as well. You'll be able to hit that fancy QR code to go check it out. Get some merch, some swag. Stuff's good. You're going to get hooked. If you start listening, you're going to get hooked. Go ahead and start back to season 1 and just listen through the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood stuff. It's good stuff.
And if they ever want, they can just email me. They can come appear as a guest. That would be cool.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Fanachek, so appreciate you being a guest host on today's podcast. This has been real fun. Always appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to help you make the enchiladas.
With that being said, keep on folding.